Hello, I am Lila Chikani, and for today's assignment, my topic was rationalism and faith. So, what is rationalism? And what is faith? Well, rationalism is a philosophical view that emphasizes the role of reason and logic as the primary sources of knowledge and understanding. And faith is often defined as a deep-seated belief in something greater than oneself, frequently linked to religious practices and traditions. It is a guiding force for many, providing morals, community, and a sense of purpose. So, what does this mean? Well, since the beginning of time, mankind has pondered how people can understand the world and how humans came to be. Can people know the world or things in it through logic and reason alone? Or is there something deeper, something unseen, that guides people's understanding? Therefore, bridging the gap between these two concepts allows full comprehension of the role that both of them play in shaping the human experience and one's beliefs. Anthropology. So, what is anthropology? Well, it is the study of human societies and cultures and their development. It examines how cultures perceive faith and deal with it, along with the sound reasoning through which their ideologies about this world are shaped. Faith from an anthropological perspective is studied as a cultural phenomenon that shapes social structures and community identities. So, anthropologists study the rituals, beliefs, and practices that are considerably different from one culture to another. They analyze how such elements reflect the values and worldviews of a given society. This discipline highlights the diversity of faith expressions and the way faith operates in different settings. To contradict this, however, within anthropology, there is the theory of evolution, which many religions see as, quote, threatening to their beliefs. This would therefore be part of a more, quote, rational thinking. It's the theory that all organisms on Earth evolved through a process called natural selection, a process where organisms with favorable traits in their environment are more likely to survive, reproduce, and thus pass those traits on to further generations, leading to a gradual change of new species from common ancestors. Hopefully, that is familiar to you. For many years, this scientific theory has been the root of heated debates. However, the case could be made that sometimes faith and rationalism can exist alongside one another. The fact that a person is religious does not necessarily imply that they do not, quote, believe in science, per se. A person can still be religious and yet remain logical. For example, an argument that has always stuck with me that my high school teacher told me was that if you are a strictly religious person, perhaps one could expand the belief to say that if God created all these creatures, who is to say that he did not also give them the tools to evolve to what they are today? Just an example of how rationalism and faith can interplay with one another. Anthropology provides a unique way to study the various ways the cultures navigate this relationship between rationalism and faith. In many societies, the two forces mentioned above are not necessarily mutually exclusive. Instead, they more often complement each other within belief systems, with rationalism guiding practical decisions and faith fulfilling cultural practices and spiritual needs. For example, certain rituals and traditions may not make much sense to the outsider's perspective, but contain deep meanings within a cultural context. On to slide 4, psychology. What is psychology? Well, it can help define how faith and rational thought interact within the human mind, examining how individuals reconcile these seemingly opposing forces. Cognitive bias, for example, may play a role in how people maintain the faith despite contradictory evidence, while others might find ways to harmonize faith and logic. Sigmund Freud, one of the most influential figures in psychology, as pictured on the right, explored the nature of religious belief in his work Civilization and Its Discontents, where he described religion as, quote, an illusion. However, Freud also recognized the profound psychological impact of religion. He acknowledged the existence of what he termed as, quote, oceanic feeling, a sensation of eternity, something limitless and unbounded, that many experience as the, quote, source of religious energy. Freud noted that this feeling is, quote, a purely subjective fact, and not necessarily tied to an article of faith or assurance of personal immortality, yet it fuels religious fervor. Psychologists continue to explore how such spiritual experiences influence mental health, behavior, and cognition. Belief systems often serve as vital coping mechanisms, contributing to emotional well-being, personal growth, and overall life satisfaction, even when detached from organized religion. From a psychological perspective, the interactions between faith and rationalism often focuses on their effects on mental health and well-being. Faith and spiritual practices are frequently viewed as coping mechanisms that provide individuals with comfort, a sense of purpose, and resilience during times of stress or crisis. On the other hand, a purely rational worldview may offer mental clarity and encourage problem solving based on logic. Religion. So, in religious studies, faith is often viewed as an important part of various religions that influence beliefs and practices. Scholars examine how faith impacts teachings, community interaction, and personal spirituality. Going back to Freud's idea of oceanic feeling, he relates this feeling to religion by describing it as, quote, the oneness with the universe, which constitutes its ideation. Contents sounds like a first attempt at a religious consolation, end quote. Therefore, this supports the claim that the act of believing in religion gives a person a sort of sense of fulfillment or guidance, which is why psychologically many turn to it. There are a variety of religions within this world, as pictured in the next two slides. However, the point is not to debate which one is the, quote, correct one, but to simply state what religion as a whole means to society. From Freud's perspective, he argued that religious beliefs are wishful fulfillment of deep psychological needs. Therefore, by using both rationalism and faith, one may find a balance between the two. Dao De Jing by Master Laozi states that, quote, heaven is eternal and the earth is very old. They can be eternal and long-lasting because they do not exist for themselves and for this reason can long endure, end quote. This reflects the Taoist idea that true duration comes from selflessness. Heaven and earth endure because they serve a purpose beyond themselves, nurturing life and existence. Quote, therefore the wise put themselves last, but find themselves foremost, end quote. This suggests that those who practice humility and selflessness ultimately achieve fulfillment and recognition. By placing the needs of others or the larger world before their own, the wise individuals find greater meaning in their lives. Therefore, this supports the idea that religion is supposed to guide one's morality, and thus faith provides a sense of fulfillment and achievement. To further prove this point, Laozi also writes, is it not because they do not live for fulfillment that they find themselves fulfilled? This concluding thought reinforces the idea that true fulfillment comes from selflessness and connection with the greater whole, rather than from selfish pursuits. In broader terms, being a part of something big helps one feel significant, and faith helps fulfill that need to be a part of something greater to help boost morality. Religious studies often frame faith and rationalism as inherently opposed, especially in theological debates where faith is seen as transcending reason. So here I provided a map just to showcase the many different religions within the world. If you would like to take a closer look, I did provide the link to the article in which this image is attached to. And here's a chart of the popularity of religions within the world, with Christianity being the most popular. This statistic was taken in 2021, So each group definitely could have expanded from the state. All right, so many religious traditions emphasize that spiritual truths lie beyond the reach of human logic, requiring belief in the unseen or the divine. However, figures like Thomas Aquinas, an Italian Dominican priest and theologian who is considered one of the greatest thinkers of the medieval period, as pictured below, argue that faith and reason are not only compatible but also complementary. According to this perspective, rationalism helps to understand aspects of the divine and offers a structure for comprehending religious beliefs. All right, so each discipline, anthropology, psychology, and religion, offers both strengths and limitations when it comes to understanding the relationship between rationalism and faith. Anthropology provides a rich contextual understanding of faith by examining this concept within the cultural frameworks in which it exists. It recognizes the diversity of belief systems and rituals, highlighting how they shape and reflect societal values. This discipline's approach allows for in-depth insights into the lived experiences of individuals and communities, revealing the significance of faith and spiritual practices in daily life. However, anthropological interpretations can sometimes oversimplify the complexities of faith. By focusing primarily on cultural practices and social functions, anthropology may neglect the personal experiences that shape an individual's belief system. Furthermore, such an emphasis on culture might deny the truth value of some beliefs/traditions and undermine those deeper existential questions in which those beliefs address. Psychology has much to say about faith from the cognitive and emotional levels. The practical benefits derived from faith through an exploration of how beliefs affect mental health, provide coping mechanisms, and affect overall well-being are explored in psychology. This discipline further puts spiritual experiences under the magnifying glass of human development and personality, hence providing an in-depth understanding of the ways in which people relate faith to their lives. Despite its strengths, psychology may struggle to to fully explain the transcendent aspects of faith. Many spiritual experiences, such as feelings of connection to a higher power or profound moments of insight, may defy measurements and analysis. Consequently, psychological approaches may inadvertently reduce these experiences to mere cognitive processes or emotional responses, failing to capture their deeper, often indescribable significance or feeling. Religious studies view faith as a key element of human experience, offering a theory that recognizes the intricate nature of belief systems. Scholars within this field look at the historical and social aspects of religion, in which a great significance is attached to tradition and interpretation informing religious practices. This perspective would allow a researcher to fully understand the place that faith plays in certain religious systems. The downside is that religious studies might at times be overly centered on traditional beliefs and practice, thus pushing aside some evidence or thoughts of rationality that do not fit into their traditional beliefs. So, what exactly am I arguing here? Well, the interplay between faith and rationalism offers a complex yet rich discussion that defines the human experience. By integrating perspectives from anthropology, psychology, and religious studies, a holistic understanding emerges, illustrating how these concepts interact and influence one another. Anthropology reveals how cultural contexts shape faith and spiritual practices, emphasizing their social roles and community dynamics. Psychology, in turn, explores the cognitive and emotional dimensions of belief, providing insights into how faith contributes to mental health and personal fulfillment. Religious studies offer a deeper theological perspective, highlighting the historical and cultural frameworks shaping faith. Viewing these disciplines collectively, they support the understanding that rationalism and faith are not opposing constructs, but symbiotic. Each informs and enhances the other. Continuing on this thought, rationalism provides a foundation for understanding the world through logic, reason, and evidence. It encourages critical thinking and skepticism, essential tools for navigating complex issues and making informed decisions. However, it is often through faith and spiritualism that individuals find deeper meaning, purpose, and connection to something greater than themselves. These ideas address existential questions that rationalism alone may struggle to answer, such as the nature of existence, morality, and the quest for transcendence. Therefore, both components are essential for a comprehensive understanding of the human experience. While rationalism stresses the workings of the natural world and enhances our understanding of reality, faith provides the moral and ethic, quote, guidelines that may dictate behavior and foster community. So, interplays between rationalism and faith allow people to live with a more complete view of beliefs and experiences that will make them live a full and meaningful life. In exploring the intricate relationship between faith and rationalism, the distinct yet interconnected roles these concepts play in shaping the human experience are emphasized as very significant. By examining perspectives from anthropology, psychology, and religious studies, it becomes clear that faith and rationalism serve as vital components of understanding what it means to be human. Furthermore, people should view these concepts as allies rather than foes in order to better enhance their knowledge of the world and the human experience. Here are some sources that were used today for this presentation. Thank you so much for listening.